Hello friends, welcome to my channel Immortal Soldier. Today's topic is ASEAN. ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. What is ASEAN? The Association of Southeast Asian Nations is a regional organization which was established to promote political and social stability amid rising tensions among the Asia-Pacific post-colonial states. The motto of ASEAN is One Vision, One Identity, One Community. ASEAN Day is observed every year on 8th of August and its secretariat is located in Jakarta, Indonesia. Here we can see all 10 members of ASEAN on the world map. ASEAN has 10 member countries. They are Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Singapore, Laos, Indonesia, Myanmar, Malaysia, Brunei, and Philippines. Let's learn all 10 member nations with a trick. CBI, MP, MLA, TVS, where C stands for Cambodia, B stands for Brunei, I for Indonesia, M for Myanmar, P for Philippines, M stands for Malaysia, L stands for Laos, T stands for Thailand, V stands for Vietnam, and S stands for Singapore. Genesis of ASEAN. In 1967, ASEAN was established with the signing of ASEAN Declaration, also known as Bangkok Declaration, by its founding fathers. Founding fathers of ASEAN are Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. In 1990s, membership doubled after the changing conditions in the region following the end of Vietnam War in 1975 and the Cold War in 1991. Addition of Brunei in 1984, Vietnam was added in 1995, Laos and Myanmar was added in 1997, and Cambodia was added in 1999. In 1995, members signed a deal to create a nuclear-free zone in Southeast Asia. In 1997, adoption of ASEAN Vision 2020. In 2003, Bali Concord II for establishment of an ASEAN community. In 2007, Cebu Declaration to accelerate the establishment of ASEAN community by 2015. In 2008, ASEAN Charter comes into force and becomes a legally binding agreement. In 2015, there was the launch of ASEAN Community. ASEAN Community is comprised of three pillars: ASEAN Political Security Community, ASEAN Economic Community, and ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. What are strengths and opportunities of ASEAN? ASEAN commands far greater influence on Asia-Pacific trade, political and security issues than its member could achieve individually. Demographic dividend. It constitutes third largest population in the world, of which more than half is below 30 years of age. Economic view. ASEAN is the third largest market in the world. It is larger than European Union and North American markets. It is sixth largest economy in the world, third in Asia. Free trade agreements with China, Japan, South Korea, India, Australia, and New Zealand. It is fourth most popular investment destination globally. ASEAN shares of global exports has also risen from only 2% in 1967 to 7% by 2016, indicating the rising importance of trade to ASEAN's economic prospects. The ASEAN single aviation market and open skies policies have increased its transport and connectivity potential. ASEAN has contributed to regional stability by building much needed norms and fostering a neutral environment to address shared challenges. What are the objectives of ASEAN? First is to accelerate economic growth, social progress, and cultural development for a prosperous and peaceful community of Southeast Asian nations. To promote regional peace and stability through abiding respect for justice and the rule of law and adherence to principles of UN Charter. To promote active collaboration and mutual assistance on matters of common interest in the economic, social, cultural, technical, scientific and administrative fields. To collaborate more effectively for the greater utilization of agriculture and industries, the expansion of their trade, the improvement of transportation and communication facilities, and the raising of living standard of peoples. To promote Southeast Asian studies, to maintain close and beneficial cooperation with existing international and regional organizations. What are the challenges ahead for ASEAN? Regional imbalances in the economic and social status of individual markets. Gap between rich and poor ASEAN member states remains very large and they have a mixed record on income inequality. While Singapore boasts the highest GDP per capita, nearly 53,000 US dollars 2016, Cambodia's per capita GDP is the lowest at less than $1,300. Many regional initiatives were not able to be incorporated into national plans as the less developed countries faced resource constraints to implement the regional commitments. The members' political system are equally mixed with democracies, communist and authoritarian states, while the South China Sea is the main issue exposing the organization's rift. ASEAN has been divided over major issues of human rights. For example, crackdowns in Myanmar against the Rohingyas, inability to negotiate a unified approach with regards to China, particularly in response to its widespread maritime claims in the South China Sea. The emphasis on consensus sometimes becomes a chief drawback. Difficult problems have been avoided rather than confronted. There is no central mechanism to enforce compliance. Inefficient dispute settlement mechanism, whether it be in the economic or political spheres. Let's learn about ASEAN plus 3. It is a group of 13 nations in which 10 ASEAN members plus 3 other members. They are Cambodia, Brunei, Indonesia, Myanmar, Philippines, Malaysia, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore and plus 3. These 3 are South Korea, China and Japan. Here we can learn more about these 13 nations. Here it is given all their prime ministers, their capitals and language. ASEAN plus 6. It is a group of 16 nations. 10 members of ASEAN plus South Korea, China, Japan plus 3 more nations, Australia, India and New Zealand. India and ASEAN. India's relationship with ASEAN is a key pillar of our foreign policy and the foundation of Act East policy. India has a separate mission to ASEAN and the EAS in Jakarta. India and ASEAN already has 25 years of dialogue partnership, 15 years of summit level interaction and 5 years of strategic partnership with ASEAN. Economic cooperation. ASEAN is India's 4th largest trading partner. India's trade with ASEAN stands at approx 10.6% of India's overall trade. India's export to ASEAN stands at 11.28% of our total exports. The ASEAN-India Free Trade Agreement has been completed. ASEAN-India Business Council was set up in 2003 to bring key private sector players from India and the ASEAN countries on a single platform. Let's discuss socio-cultural cooperation. Programs to boost people-to-people interaction with ASEAN, such as inviting ASEAN students to India, special training course for ASEAN diplomats, exchange of parliamentarians. Funds. Financial assistance has been provided to ASEAN countries from the following funds: ASEAN India Cooperation Fund, ASEAN India Science and Technology Development Fund, ASEAN India Green Fund, Delhi Declaration to identify cooperation in the maritime domain as a key area of cooperation under the ASEAN India Strategic Partnership. Delhi Dialogue, annual track 1.5 event for discussing political, security and economic issues between ASEAN and India. ASEAN India Center to undertake policy research, advocacy and networking activities with organizations and think tanks in India and ASEAN. Political security cooperation. India places ASEAN at the center of its Indo-Pacific vision of security and growth for all in the region. Jai Hind. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.